Everybody, we're here with our SHOT Show crew. Steve, Director of Marketing; Owen Chambers, Community Experience Specialist; and Talon Jayne, random YouTuber graduate. So, no, Talon has done a great job of helping out at the booth, talking to folks, and actually shooting some content for us. So what we want to do is just see how everybody's time at SHOT Show was, especially Owen and Talon, because it was their first time at SHOT Show and first time at Vegas, or in Vegas, on Vegas, somewhere around Vegas.
Yep.
So Owen and Talon, just overall, because we're going to get into a bunch of stuff today, how was just overall experience?
I'll let you go, Talon.
Did you say go?
Do whatever you want. I just asked the question, so whoever wants to talk.
Yeah, it was, I felt like I tried to prepare for what I was going to see, and I'm not sure that even in my wildest dreams that it was going to be as much as it was. Trying to combine both Vegas and SHOT Show together in one trip is a bit much. You spend all day at SHOT Show and then spend all night at Vegas, and there's just so much to do there, so much to see. I would guess that in the full week, we might have hit 35% of SHOT Show, if that, and that was just going and going the whole time with very few breaks. So, and then Vegas, probably 5% of Vegas. So, if that, not even that, 1% of Vegas.
Yeah.
So 30% of SHOT Show, 1% of Vegas, and spent a full week there.
As the event coordinator and Vegas representative, it is my job to show these folks a good time and what Vegas has to offer. So you'll see a smile on my face because I know what we did after hours and the fun we had. So if you see that, that's why. But we were all there in the morning at the booth, ready to come to work. Because that's part of the SHOT Show experience as well.
The lack of sleep.
Yes. Bags under my eyes.
I've been sleeping pretty much great since I got home.
Yeah.
Owen, how was it for you?
Man, I think I agree with Talon. I had a list of people that I wanted to see. And I was like, if we could get, 40 to 50% of these, at least talk to these booths. I was like, I'll feel happy. And then about 2 days into it, I realized we're not getting anywhere near that because you're spending a lot more time at each booth. There's just so much to see. You kind of have an idea in your head, especially being the first time. It's like, you see all these YouTube videos from previous years and stuff, and you're like, all right, this is how it's going to go. I'm going to see all these people. I'm going to talk to all these people. And then you go, and it's just so much bigger. And the same thing applies to Vegas. You're like, after SHOT, we're being shown around Vegas, and there's only so much time in the day. And I don't want to say it was overwhelming, but it was a huge, just both SHOT Show and Vegas were just so much bigger than I thought they would be.
Yeah.
But it was a really good experience. I enjoyed it. Definitely want to do it again.
Yeah.
Steve, what are your thoughts? How did they do first time around?
They did exactly as expected for first timers. They made all the classic mistakes. They had all the good times that you should have. And they somehow were able to work hard and play hard the same week, same times. I'm really proud of both you guys. You whenever I look at you, you both look miserable and in a state of joy at the same time of all the cool things you were experiencing. I just hope you feel better next time you get to do it. As someone who's been there now for going on 10 years, I definitely have not seen it all. I feel like I've walked it more than enough in the past, and I don't really go out and party, so I get the most sleep of my life when I go to Vegas now. So
no kids, no family. You're just there, just have some fun, go to sleep.
My goal is to get back to the room as soon as possible.
And you accomplish that pretty much every night.
Yeah, you did a really good job with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We did have the grad dinner, which kind of forced you to be out for a little bit longer, but you did a really good job.
I'm an incredibly boring person in Vegas.
I feel like we could take a slight, guidance from that side instead of this side a little bit next time, Owen.
It's not as fun that way, though.
I just figured I could sleep next week. That's why I kept telling myself. I was like, I'm here for 1 week. I was like, who cares if I get 3 hours of sleep? I'm gonna
Right.
show up to the
Or
booth
less.
tomorrow and still put as much effort as I put in day one. So
Yeah.
I was like, whatever. I'll just sleep. I'll sleep next week.
What were your guys' best and worst things about a first time go to SHOT Show?
You want to go?
They both are kind of similar. The best thing is just the direct interaction that you have with companies that you don't really expect. I mean, you're talking to like lead engineers, owners of companies, people that are developing the actual products, people that know more about what you're looking at than anyone else. That part is awesome. The worst part is that you don't have enough time to do that for everybody. You only have enough time to do that for a very select few. Like Owen said, that little app, I had so many little yellow things on there that I wanted to hit, and I don't think I came close to hitting what I wanted to hit. But at the same time, I did get to hit some things I maybe didn't know enough about or wasn't, didn't plan on it. And yeah, that's just, so I guess the best and worst is the interactions that you get and the lack of the time to hit more of those interactions.
And let's frame this out a bit, because Talon and Owen are coming in as two different people. Talon Jayne, Tradesmen Firearms, has his own shop, FFL. He's also a budding YouTube star, so he's got that kind of focus too. So not
And
just
a national hero.
Exactly, and a national hero. And then you
He
have
had
Owen.
international vendors like seeking his attention.
I know. It's so crazy. So got a lot of handshakes. And then Owen is our community experience specialist. So he's working with our graduates, partners, vendors, all those folks to kind of make sure everybody's happy. We're all communicating whatever they need, we get, and then just also sharing the experiences through content with our graduates and vendors as well. So, sorry, Owen.
No,
so
you're good.
Let's go on.
I think honestly, one of the best experiences for me was to see how many graduates were in the industry, because I had an idea of the number of grads that were going to be there. And I think like day 3 or day 2, there was just not, it was just back to back, these grads. And they were from varying levels of experience into the industry. We had some guys that were like, oh yeah, I've got apprentices under me that are going to SDI. And then we had some as new as like just graduated, and they had this idea that they wanted to present to different manufacturers and companies, and they were super nervous about it. And then by the end of the week, like several of them were coming back and sharing their stories about how receptive everybody at SHOT Show was. It was, I think, I don't want to say vindicating, but it was really cool to see like, hey, these grads are actually doing something after school now, and here are their stories. And so I think that was the best part for me, because prior to SHOT, I didn't really I didn't really know too many grads besides the ones that are in the server and obviously Talon and a handful of other ones. But most of the grads that I met, I would say only a handful of them I knew before. So it was really cool to see how widespread they were and what they were doing. And they were actually applying what they learned at school to what they're doing now. I'd say the worst part is how big the show was, because I think I talked to Talon about it, and it almost seems inefficient for SHOT Show to be that big, because, other people, there's no way everybody's hitting everybody that they want to hit, so they must be having some sort of pre-planned operations going on, figuring out who they're definitely going to talk to, the must-haves, conversations and things like that, because by day 2, I was like, we hadn't even left Caesar's Forum yet. So it's a,
What's crazy? No matter how much planning I do for SHOT Show, whenever I leave, it's always someone that I just ran into by accident, whether it's a bar, in an elevator, on the airplane. And I'm like, that was the best connection I made at SHOT Show. And I just was totally by accident. There's no amount of planning could have ever arranged us to meet.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. It's funny you mentioned that, because me and Christian, the Saturday before, we were going to go play golf, and then randomly he was like, hey, there's a small range day going on in Phoenix or something. And so we ended up going to that, and I met both of us met this guy that 3D prints these
Paul.
stands and stuff.
Paul from Rad Labs 3D. We'll shout him out. He puts out good
shout
stuff.
out Mad Labs 3D. Look at that.
That thing is incredibly awesome.
Yeah, he spent
3D printed.
He did an amazing job. He can do pretty much just about any caliber you want. He's got all the drawings. He can put any logo you want on there. But he was such an invaluable resource for the first couple of days of shot, which honestly was really good for me because it helped me have a plan on top of my plan, because he would be like, hey, I talked to these people. They're really excited to talk to you. And that's how I started my day one, was going to the people that he introduced me to. So it's like Steve said, it was like the most random just interaction, and that we had no plan to
I found this range day on Instagram 2 days before. And so I was like, hey, let's go. Let's get some interviews in if we can, and we'll probably post the thing with Saul here in the next coming week. So if you want to see his stuff, he puts out some really cool stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. So, you guys had expectations in your head. Talon, you put out a video on prepping for SHOT Show, so people can watch that on your channel at Tradesmen Firearms. But I mean, how did you guys prep exactly? What did you bring? What mindset did you come in? What did you expect, like when you got there, all that?
For me, it was, obviously research, on YouTube, watching other people's experiences, talking to you because you've gone a bunch of times, kind of looking up, going to the SHOT Show website, watching, they have their own SHOT Show TV videos that they put out. And a lot of that was super helpful. Some of the advice, now after SHOT Show, I think you could give or take, but some of it was kind of invaluable. Shoes is super important. There's not a lot of places to rest at SHOT Show. There's not like a lot of, it's not like every other booth has a bench next to it. You can take a seat. So you're going to be on your feet the vast majority of the time you're there. Getting to know the app that's there, that was, I cannot stress how big this venue is, and finding a small booth, like I'll just use the 4473 Cloud. That's a tiny little 10 foot by 10 foot booth, if that, and trying to find that in the mix of everybody else. The only way you can do that is with the app, and you're constantly trying to look up and see what you can see. Oh, there's Mossberg, okay, and you're looking down, and that app definitely has room for improvement, but without it, I think you'd be completely lost if you're trying to target specific spots.
How many times do you think Talon said 4473 Cloud while we're at SHOT Show?
He said it at least 4,473 times.
73 times. Yeah.
He was really pumped up about that booth.
Yeah. So my initial intentions when I went there kind of shifted while I was there to content that maybe other people aren't necessarily making. A lot of people, when they go to SHOT Show, they want to show the coolest guns. They want to show the biggest firearms, the whatever, the newest hotness. And I wanted to go to those booths that really help the new guy just getting started. And so, and some of those kind of fell in my lap, like when the Fastbound guys stopped by the SDI booth and, talked to distributors and things like that. And it really kind of changed everything and gave me a focus, which was really helpful as well.
How about you, Owen? What kind of prep did you do?
I did a lot of vendor lookups, but I quickly got overwhelmed with that. And so I kind of was making a list of people that I really wanted to see, like a priority list, similar to what Talon was doing. But I didn't download the app until I actually got there. I was actually using just the floor map that's on the website to figure out a plan of attack per room. And, it's hard to plan out the amount of time you're going to spend at each booth, because you can't just be like, I'm going to spend 15 minutes here, I'm going to spend 15 minutes there, because sometimes you start a really good conversation and you're there for an hour. You talk to different people, or you go to a booth and, hey, guess what? They're like, hey, can you come back in like 2 hours or whatever? I'm heading to a meeting. So you skip them. And then by the time you try to get back, you can't circle back. So it was, honestly, just being really flexible with the people that you wanted to see, prepping for it. I really don't know if I could have prepped any more than I did, but especially when I got there, once we started, the day we got to the front doors and we're loading those, we're walking in those rolling carts, and I'm like, oh, this can't be that big, because you just see the initial Caesar's form, and then we start walking, and then Christian's like, oh, we got to take a break, and I'm like, dude, how much further we got? And then we take it 5 more breaks later, we finally get to our booth. That kind of gave me an idea of how big this was going to be, and this was just the first room. So
Just so everybody knows, we were like carrying like 300-pound trunks on our shoulders. You know, we're not just taking breaks because we're walking. And
it was at least like 450 or something.
But
it was crazy.
But they were heavy carts. But okay, Steve, do you do anything different these days?
A piece of advice that I follow on this is go to the places where you're celebrated and people are excited to see you, not the ones that are just tolerating you to be there. There are certainly booths and companies at SHOT Show that do not care if they talk to you when you come into their booth. They feel much better than you. I love going to the booths, whether it's a new company or a growing company or companies that just really appreciate their customers, or they want to grow their networks. And when you walk in, they're excited to share their products with you. They want to network with you. They want to grow with you as well. And there's certain rooms that are better at that. Like if you go to that basement floor, you're certainly going to find some companies that are very happy to talk with you there. For sure. And sometimes, depending on who you are, the size of your business, you can get a lot more done in those areas instead of trying to sit in line to see whatever popular product is that, and they're probably not going to give you a chance to see it anyways.
Yeah. So for those who have never been to SHOT, what's the difference between that second floor, main floor, and then the first floor?
Yep. So SHOT Show is, like the guys have been saying, is huge, but it is separated into a couple different categories. Like there's specific areas for purchasing by military and law enforcement agencies, just those type of products. The main SHOT Show floor is going to be your big giant companies like your Glock, your Remington, Beretta, things like that. There are a lot of small to medium sized businesses in that main floor, but most of those, and I think it might be an SSF rule where if it's your first time exhibiting at SHOT Show, you're pretty much regulated off to what they call the first floor, the basement floor. And like I said, you'll find awesome stuff down there. They're just going to be some of your smaller or first time vendors at SHOT Show.
What's crazy is
go ahead.
All right, go ahead. I was going to say the basement floors, it's almost a party down there compared to the upper floor.
Vibe.
Yeah, it is.
The Venetian level 2, everybody's in pinstripe suits. It's really business. There's meeting rooms. The booths are $1 million booths, and
they have stairs.
There's stairs into the booths. Like it's insane. And then the bottom floor,
nowhere more evident that there is a obvious class divide of all those spaces was in the bathrooms.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Do not use the bathroom in the basement floor.
Dude, me and Talon made that mistake once.
Yeah, the basement floor is, but what's funny is in the basement floor, there's some big companies down there too.
Yeah.
That I think they just like the atmosphere down there more, like Platypus was on the basement floor, but that's a partying company right there. So they kind of fit down there. And, some of the bigger holster makers, it's kind of weird. Like you said, there is some smaller businesses on the Venetian level 2, and there is some bigger businesses on the Venetian level. But in general, just the atmosphere is completely different between the two locations.
What was the coolest thing you saw on the first floor, Owen?
Coolest thing I saw was with KDEX Defense. Every time I walked past their booth, it just caught my eye, and I just had to go over there. But it was a bolt action mag fed anti-tank gun, and dude, the brake on this thing looked like a waffle iron. And I remember bringing Rick over there, and I was like, dude, have you ever seen anything like this? And he's like, what is that? And So we talked to the guy, and he said it's some proprietary round or something. It's like a 4.6 something, but it was ridiculous. It made a 50 BMG look like a baby, and it was just like the chassis, the barrel, the bolt, the muzzle brake, everything on it just looked so cool. It just looked like a gun, like your typical 50 BMG, just scaled up, like even bigger. And so that was hands down the coolest thing on the first floor for me.
Yeah.
Alan?
I'd have to say the Platypus booth. I'm just a fan of the platform itself, but I've never had a chance to interact with them or hold them or, anything like that. Platypus isn't something you can really go down to the local gun shop and pick up and hold. And so without purchasing one or knowing someone that has one, it's all you're ever going to see is pictures of it. And so getting to actually go and play with it, for those of you who don't know, it's a 2011 platform, like a double stack 1911 platform. And it's just, I didn't know this. There's one girl there who paints every single one of the Platypus firearms that go out. So, I mean, you're talk about job security, but she's incredibly talented. And there are so many different variants of the Platypus in 1911. It was a fun booth. They were fun people. There was a really cool firearm to finally get to interact with. I'm looking forward to purchasing my own. I just requested my dealer account with them. Already got 2 or 3 people orders lined up. Right, Owen?
Yeah.
And,
yeah, you do.
Yeah. So that was probably my favorite thing on the first floor.
Now, were you talking the first floor, like the dungeon, or first floor as in like the floor we were on?
No, the basement.
Oh, okay. Because what I was talking about was on
dungeon.
Caesar's Forum. So sorry, everybody.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
Is Platypus the actual manufacturer, or is it Stealth Arms?
Stealth Arms.
Stealth
Yeah.
Arms. Yeah. Stealth Arms is I guess the manufacturer. Platypus is the platform.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Sorry.
I saw you eyeing the Barbie rhinestone stippling.
Owen was all over that thing.
Yeah.
I was all over that one.
Steve, did you have any like really one that stuck out to you?
I was so sick at SHOT Show. I don't remember a single thing.
He was.
You
I
look
think
great
for the
on
first 2
Thursday.
days he said
You look-
7 words.
Yeah, we did this cross in the middle where we started out great and then went down, whereas you were ramping up by the end of the week. So
Okay. Steve, so we were there to shoot content. This is the most content we've ever shot at an event, which I'm excited about because, hey, it's my thing, the events, and then just being able to add content makes it even better. What kind of content that you have seen so far that has gotten uploaded to the drive are you looking forward to put out?
Yeah, for us, an event like this, I'd say there's a lot of content creators that are there that are going to show the latest, greatest, coolest gadget out of the gun industry. If you're looking for SDI to do that, that's probably not us. We're not content creators in that sense. But what I did see that we did a really excellent job at, and it kind of dawned on me a couple of different things, is the amount of graduates we ran into at this show. And then I thought, man, our network of graduates every year is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And they're starting to work with bigger and cooler companies, whether it's manufacturers or guys that are starting their own companies. And I started thinking about it, man, our network is not just limited to our graduates. It is now our graduates and their network of professionals and friends and people they're working with. There's countless stories. I think Owen and Talon came up to me and they were sharing something. It was a graduate talking about the employers wanting to do something great for us because they like their SDI graduate employee. Our network now included that other company just because we had an SDI graduate working for them, which was a really cool thing to see. And then to hear all those graduates of what they were doing. Some of them were either working on proprietary products or they had bought patents for products. So not only were they just doing typical gunsmith stuff, they were now making an impact on the tools and products that folks are going to be buying in the industry in the future, which was awesome.
Yeah. couple of our grads had some really cool stuff in regard to like, you know, the holster thing and then the stock thing. I just say thing, 'cause I don't want to put their business out there, but you know, it was really some cool stuff. So
yeah.
how did the content creation? What's that?
When Owen and I got back, one of the guys in his Discord asked how well was SDI received, because I hear all these rumors. And I was like, dude, this industry loves SDI. You know, it's crazy. You mention SDI and people just open up like across the industry, at the manufacturers, at the distributors, at the dealers. I mean, really, it was insane how many doors open just mentioning, you know, the Sonoran Desert Institute. And so it breaks my heart sometimes when people think or feel that way after getting their diploma. I told him, I said, dude, hold your head up high. This industry loves SDI. You know, I was like, the only people that talk crap about SDI are the old hats that, you know, aren't ready to move on with future operations and what SDI represents moving forward. But every manufacturer that we dealt with, every gunsmith that we had people that were gunsmiths that didn't go to SDI, stopping by the SDI booth to thank SDI for what they're doing in promoting the industry and getting more people out there. And I think that speaks such volumes. You know, it was just, there's no shame in this game. You know, I mean, everybody was super cool and super.
And we talked to some big people too.
Yeah.
And they were very open to us. They're very receptive. I mean, I'd say 99% of the people that we talked to were extremely kind and received us really well.
Yeah.
How did the content creation go, just in general, for both of you? Because you guys were out there. I was at the booth most of the time. And that's my job. I oversaw some of the content shoots and everything, but just all in all, how did it go?
I think it went great. I mean, so many people were, I would start talking to them and they'd be like, hey, can we do a short video on this or interview, whatever you want to do? And not a single person said no. If they said no, it was because they had a meeting coming up or they had something planned that was right around the corner. And they would always we would reschedule. So I think it went great. And on top of that, we had all those grad testimonials that we did. Those were awesome. Everybody comes from a different walk of life. So it was really cool to hear their side of the story. And I mean, for us, it went really, really well.
I think SHOT Show, there is no lack of opportunities to make content.
No, absolutely. Absolutely.
No, Owen and I's content, a lot of it overlapped, which was nice because we go out together and kind of hit some similar places, you know. Again, I won't talk on all of them because that content's going to come out. So watch those videos. But we had a lot of overlap, but then we had a lot where he was doing grad interviews and I was going out and talking to, you know, businesses that would benefit new gunsmiths, new retailers. But overall, just like he said, nobody said no. There were people that were busy or already had meetings scheduled, and I've already booked out some Riverside interviews for the next couple of weeks with businesses that wasn't able to get to while we were there. You know, so it just overall, everybody is super cool, super receptive, and hopefully, you know, people that get to watch the content, both from SDI, from my channel and everything else, get something out of it, because I loved watching all of Owen's freaking grad interviews just because it was so cool to hear everybody's story.
Okay. Steve, you got a question?
Nope. I was going to say, I would love, like, people would walk by our booth and they were stopping to see what you guys were filming. It was a draw. And I felt like walking up, like, those guys are nobodies. Just keep, like, what you're wasting your something cooler. No,
Nobody's this year. Nobody's this year, Steve. Wait till next year.
Next year, we did have a really cool setup in the booth, and like that's just it's a great use of space for us.
Yeah, I think it was really well done. Whoever planned that out.
Yeah, that guy deserves a raise for sure.
Somebody has some good ideas.
Yeah. I think it's me, but it's you. But I think it's me. I don't even know who. But if you're out there watching this video and you're at one of the bigger shows with us, like SHOT Show or NRA, we'll have a booth set up. So check out. We'll probably shooting content with grads or our partners. It is a pretty cool time. We also shot with one of our influencers, Morning from Washington Gun Law. So we'll also be doing booth appearances and interviews at future booths as well. So yeah, if you're there, come by. It's cool times, something cool to see. Let's talk about after hours. So I know a few of us went out in Vegas and did some after hour things. Yeah, what how was your guys' experience for the after hours at SHOT?
Go ahead, Tom.
It's all secrets. Nobody wants to say anything.
I would tell you that if you're trying to work at SHOT, like if your goal is to make business connections and talk to people and grow your business, or if you're not just there to kind of explore and look around, maybe take it a little easy after hours, because it's so easy to go overboard in Vegas. And
no Long Island iced teas.
No,
well,
no Long Island.
No Long Island iced teas, but maybe limit it to a limited amount of Long Island iced teas. Three would be the max, I would say. 4 or 5 is probably too many.
I mean, I think karaoke was amazing. I fully planned going into karaoke, hey, I'm not going to sing at all. I'm just going to enjoy and watch everybody sing. And then by the end of the night, they were wrestling the mic away from me. So I was like, something happened here.
Yeah.
But
no, that was super.
We talk about these after hour events, but they're not just play. Like I met a lot of really cool people. I met the urban carry guys after hours and stuff, and built some really good relationships there. I met a few other people after hours, so yeah, it was a good time.
No, what he just said is so true. SHOT Show doesn't just end because it's 5 o'clock and you're walking out the door. There's so many of those parties, like the grad thing and everything else. But even the karaoke, there were guys there that are from Wyoming that I plan on connecting with, that run businesses that that are close to up here. Met a couple from Oregon. That was really cool. So just the networking continues. Just because you're out there, and sometimes that social lubricant of alcohol really does help kind of make it so that people are more likely to kind of.
I mean, some of the best networking is after hours.
Yeah, really. For sure.
And one of the hubs is Circle Bar. Somebody explain the Circle Bar experience, what it is, and how your guys' first time experience was.
I'll let Talon talk about it because that's his favorite place. So.
It's a bit of a I don't know how to describe it pleasantly.
Cluster?
It's a bit of a
so it's in the Venetian. So Venetian first floor in the casino. There's a bar. It's a circle called
right in the middle of the casino.
Yeah.
Right in the middle of the casino, kind of standing room only, and it. I mean, you could be at the circle bar for an hour and not see someone else who was also at the circle bar for an hour. I mean, there's just a lot going on there, but. We're standing there and there's celebrities walking by in our community, celebrities like Eli's there, and the director of Talon Jayne was there.
Talon Jayne is there.
Kept asking for pictures.
Is Eli doing his podcast right now saying there's celebrities there, like
Tradesmen Firearms, 2,300 subscribers.
You turn around and it's like you said, it's kind of a hub. It's kind of like where a lot of people go, and there's big. I won't name names because these people might not want there, but there's big names of people that are there enjoying their after hours time, and you can really kind of have discussion. Now, granted, you're kind of screaming. I mean, I don't know if you could still hear it in my voice, but the longer you're at SHOT Show, the less, especially if you're trying to talk and do interviews, your voice by the end of the week, once you get to our interviews, you're going to see our voices get quieter and scratchier by the end of the week. But
what do you mean? I'm doing great.
Yeah, I am doing okay now. This was a few days back, but no, it's an experience. But honestly, you got to go with somebody like Christian, who knows his way around Vegas. At one point in time, Christian asked me, he says, "Hey, are you learning your way around?" And I said, "No, but I've memorized your backside because all we did was follow you everywhere." And
I could be taking us to a back alley and we're just like, yep, we're with him. We're going.
No, honestly,
which only happened twice.
Much for making that experience that much. we would have been so lost. And you got us to every single thing. As an event coordinator, you coordinated that event for sure. So
Yeah.
I try to be that guy.
you were
Whether
the
it
guy.
works or not, you know.
Christian, you did your job. Good job.
All right. So it was a long week. Let's wrap it up. What was one of the biggest challenges that you guys faced throughout the whole week or prior to the week after, just for the whole experience?
Well, before we talk about challenges, I just wanted to touch upon something else that I really enjoyed, and it was the grad dinner. I think that was it was really well done. I think it was a great opportunity to meet the other grads, which most of them had stopped by the booth, but I got to sit down and talk to them a little bit, get to know them a little bit more, and just kind of shoot the breeze with them, and then eat food and have some drinks and stuff. I think it was really well done. Good job, Christian. Good job.
Yeah. Again, the venue on that one was perfect because there's no intimate places in Vegas. Like you can't go and have conversations with people without kind of yelling over the top of the drinks and the tables and everybody else.
That's
And
not what the guy in the
Christian's
street corner sold me. He said there's a lot of intimate places in Vegas.
We should
Yeah.
do a. We should
the
do
car guy was like, "You want an intimate place? Come on over here."
No,
we
but
should do
this
like
was-
a seat shuffle next time. So like halfway through
Yeah,
dinner, everybody
I
has to
agree.
shuffle seats. So that
because I
you talk
really
to other
connected
people.
with our side of the table, but I don't feel like the other side of the table. But like, the
That's
side
just a
up
small
side,
thing, though.
yeah. But that
And
was
then turning the music down. So,
Yeah.
yep.
And closing the door.
I hear your feedback, and I will respond accordingly. But the evolution of this grad dinner has really been a thing the last 4 years since I've kind of been in charge of it. We used to, and so I used to be you guys first time out. I'm in charge of throwing a party, so I'm throwing the biggest party. Just saying, hey Steve, invite all the influencers, invite all the vendors, so we can get free stuff, or so I can meet folks. And then there would be 5 grads, and it was great. One of the first impacts I ever had as an event coordinator was that first grad event I attended.
Yeah.
It was me talking to 4 grads, I think it was, and then Brandon Herrera comes in, and this one grad, I'll never forget it. I'm talking straight to him. He stops even paying attention to me. He looks past, his face turns red, and he is just fanboying out. I'm like, what is going
like
on?
Talon.
I turn around. Yeah, it's like exactly Talon.
Hey,
But
are you famous?
yeah. And so he's like, that's
I got my
Brandon
picture
Herrera.
with
I was like, you want to talk to him? That's why he's here. He wants to meet, everybody. And then, then I lost him. He was gone talking to Brandon Herrera, for the rest of the night. So, but that's why we do it. But now we've been wanting to get closer to our grads, talk to them, see what their experience are, and we want to share it. And so it's gone from this big, big, big party down to what we had this time around, small private dining room in a restaurant in the Venetian, where we could all just kind of, it was really, and even it was like 10 staff, 10 grads. And we were able to just have conversations and see what you guys were doing, what what challenges they have, what was their experience like, and just get some really good feedback and just really network and bond with the folks that have gone through the similar stuff that you guys. So,
and the food was fantastic.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I don't
food-
like
food.
you see these cheeks, like I know how to eat. So and it's part of my job. So I've got to practice and train to be the best at my job that I can be.
Obvious. Yeah, you tend to.
I lost 10 pounds this week in Vegas.
I gained
that's all
I found
sickness.
some of that.
I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
They've
I also ate like 3 sticks of broccoli for lunch one day.
Yeah. The challenge for me, and I'll leave this since we're probably wrapping up soon, is now after SHOT Show, don't forget to follow up with people.
Yeah.
Like, don't let all those connections, all that work, all that walking you did at SHOT Show go to waste. Now's the time to follow up and take the next step and actually make some gains for your business.
Cool. And that goes to the advice, which I'm going to ask as the last question. So that's good there. Talon, Owen, any challenges that you want to bring up, or should we just go to the advice?
I mean,
My only challenge was the location because I wasn't with you guys. Like, my hotel was a ways away. It took me 30 or 40 minutes to get in every day. And after a whole night and at the end of the night and everything else. So Vegas is bigger than it looks on a little map. Even just walking from one hotel or casino to another hotel or casino it's a bit of a jaunt. And that would one thing is if you're trying to avoid the challenges, just be aware there is some travel time included every day in getting to and from. Even when you guys were at the link, which is connected to it, it's still a 20-minute walk from your room to the, to get to the venue and everything, and it's connected, so I would just say include travel. If you have, problems walking or getting around, or if you're, kind of one of those people that may have issues with it, it is a bit of a physical exercise there.
Oh, roller skates.
Yeah.
Skates.
Rent a
Heelys.
scooter.
If you're gonna
Make sure everybody hates you. Rent a scooter.
all right.
I'm gonna get one of those hoverboards my kid has, and just
There you
hoverboard
go.
around. Yeah.
I think one of the biggest challenges for me, and the more experienced people kept telling me this over and over, they're like, hey, yeah, you're here to do a job, you're here to work, you're here to get stuff done, but make sure you enjoy it. And, I enjoyed every minute of it. So work for me was enjoyment, but people kept reiterating like, hey, make sure you take some time to walk around and see some stuff or talk to some people that, off the books. Make sure you enjoy doing it. And so for me, it was just like trying to make sure I balanced that, because for me, in my mind, I was like, doesn't matter how tired I am or how bad my feet hurt, like I'm here to get something done. And so that was trying to balance that out for me was probably the biggest challenge, but I still enjoyed every minute of it. So I kept telling people like, yeah, I am enjoying it, and
Yeah.
I'll never understand that at SHOT Show, especially when you walk around. There's just some booths where they have like, there's nothing on the walls, maybe other than the free sign that SHOT Show hung up for them, and a table and some like brochures, but then they're just sitting there, so miserable.
yeah.
And I'm like, man, you spent a lot of money to get here. No, and you're, are they just wondering why is nobody talking to them? Like I would help those people.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So-
being approachable is really important, because like if they were on their phone texting or just looked miserable, I feel like me and Talon just naturally just didn't go up to them,
Yeah. Let's not bother this guy.
Yeah.
So-
He looks pissed.
all right. So let's wrap this up. We kind of got into the challenges and advice from the challenges, but any key piece of advice for a first-time SHOT Show attendee, people who are coming 2026, what would you tell them, Talon?
I'd say know what your goal of attending SHOT Show is. Okay, so like I knew my goal was to create content that was going to benefit new people. If your goal is to start a business, or your goal is to establish connections with businesses, you need to make sure that you don't let other things get in the way of that goal. For example, we saw a lot of people that were there for like swag, right? They're there to get the patches and the stickers and the hats and the t-shirts and everything else.
Yeah.
And if your goal is to establish business connections, but you're carrying around a suitcase over your shoulder just filled with swag, it gives off the wrong impression of what your goal is going up to these booths. So if your goal is to establish business connections, make sure that that's what you're doing. If you're just going there to get swag and get free hat, first off, there's cheaper ways to do it. But if your goal is to get stickers and patches and hats and whatever, and I'm not saying you can't grab that stuff while you're trying to do business, but if you're just going booth to booth to booth and grabbing that stuff, in my opinion, it sets the wrong impression to these bigger businesses that are trying to build, connections.
Yeah, makes
So-
some people mad, bro.
Right. Just know your reason. Know your reason that you're there. Focus on that reason, and maybe you can do some other stuff too, like, get the
Yeah.
pictures, get the videos, get the swag, whatever else. But just know your target of why you're going, and then try and accomplish that first and the other stuff secondary, because you don't have time to do it and also do everything else. So
I mean, you're really right. Like, as a vendor at most of these shows, like there's nothing that gives the worst first impression of someone that just wants to come up and grab those patches and stickers, and then like, oh, who are you? What do you do? Like, oh,
Yeah.
now you acknowledge me? Like, thanks.
And I thought I was going to be just a swag grabbing crazy, and it was just not my priority while I was there. And even with it not being my priority, I still came back with like 20 patches and 20 stickers or whatever. But there were people there with like
Bags.
duffel
Bags.
bag just filled with, and it just gives it, again, if that's the reason you're going, great. But if that's not the reason you're going, it gives a bad impression.
Yeah.
All right, Owen, how about you?
Yeah.
My biggest piece of advice, because you can't really plan for SHOT, especially the first time, but don't be afraid to talk to people. I was going around and, the first couple hours, even maybe the first day, even I had those nervous butterflies going up to people and talking to them. And then, by day 2, we were going up to just about anybody. And it was really easy. And, everybody there is super receptive. I mean, like I said, 99% of the people that we talked to, they wanted to talk to us. They wanted to share with us. Like I said, nobody declined to interview except people that were like, I got to be somewhere, or I'm not the guy that's going to be on camera because, we got a pretty person, so don't be afraid to talk to people. You'll get a lot out of it that way.
Steve, anything else you want to add?
Yeah, I'd say like you guys kind of hit this main point. Like, don't get lost in the forest for the trees at SHOT Show. It's easy to be overwhelmed. Go there with a purpose and a goal, and everything you're doing there should be a step closer to attain that goal you set for yourself.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I think all in all of us had a great time. You guys tried to prepare as much as you could, but it's definitely an overwhelming experience for the first time. Sometimes even the second time. I know I still get lost just going around, but the more you do it, the more you'll know it.
Yeah.
Just like in life. So deep. But I appreciate your guys' time. If you're out here watching the video, check out Tradesmen Firearms on YouTube. He's going to be putting out a lot of content as well because he had some goals to make some videos. Watch our content. Go to sdi.edu for more information. I'll put some links in the description below. But I'm off to Great American Outdoor Show for a 9-day event. So if you're happen to be in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, from the 1st through the 9th, come see me. I'll be there till the 5th. But, we'll have some other folks on the later shift. But thank you, guys. Appreciate your time. And that's all of our times.
Good
See you
luck.
in the next video.
All right. Thank you, Christian.
Thanks.
Thanks, Christian.